Hi. I'm going to present to you today the first book that I really fell in love with and that really changed my way of looking at the world. And it's called Life of Pi, written by Yann Martel. Life of Pi is the story of a teenage boy called Pi who lives in Pondicherry, India. He lives in a zoo with his family, so he knows a lot about animals, and he lived with them most of his life. He's also very religious. He's Christian, Muslim, and he's Hinduist. So he follows actually 3 religions, which is very uncommon. So at some point, the family decides to move out. They decide to go to Canada with the entire zoo for political reasons, a bit like Noah's Ark. And the ship, while in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, sinks. And Pi gets stuck on a tiny boat with a couple of animals. So there's a hyena, there's an orangutan, a rat, a zebra, and an adult tiger, who all end up killing themselves. And at the end, there's only the tiger remaining and Pi, who will try to tame him. So, what I really love about this book is really first off, the style of writing. There's this realistic approach to the book because Yann Martel did a lot of research before writing the book. So he researched a lot about theology, zoology, but also about shipwrecks. So when the ship sinks, you really feel like you're in the ship. He describes the tragedy so well, and it's really immersive, which is maybe not something you want with a shipwreck, because it's really disturbing with his family dying and everything. It's catastrophe. It's really well expressed. About theology and zoology, we have a protagonist, who is highly religious and spends a lot of time with animals. So he applies this divine view of looking at animals. He really sees them from a religious standpoint. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's a lot of big descriptions and exaggerations that goes along with the realistic part of the book. So that's really interesting. It's both a symbolic book and a realistic book. And that's what I really love, this fusion of those. Also, what I love, except from the style of writing, is the embedded messages. And that's really what changed my mind about a lot of things. So first off, we have to know that before I read this book, I was, and I still am, by the way, an atheist. But I was very closed-minded about spirituality and religion in general, and people who were spiritual and religious. And that book really changed it, because at some point, at the end of the book, spoiler alert, Pi and the tiger hit the Mexican coast. So they get on the shore, the tiger gets lost in the jungle, and Pi gets then rescued by locals who didn't see the tiger. So once in the hospital, Pi gets to tell his story, and he tells the story of the animals, and there's also more stuff that happened that I didn't talk about, like there's a semi-magical island at some point, all kind of stuff that's actually really hard to believe, like the odds that this thing actually happened, that Pi managed to survive with an adult tiger, the odds are really low. So they don't believe it at first, and they ask for the true story, the real story. And Pi tells them another story. Did he come up with it, or was it true? The book never says it. So this second story is really an awful one. It's the same story, but instead of the animals, it's people in the boat with Pi. So there's his mom, there's members of the staff, there's the cook that was on the ship, and they still, like the animals, try to eat each other. Well, at least the cook tries to eat the others, and they used the meat of one of the staff members to fish, actually. Now at some point the mom dies, and the cook wants to eat the mom, and then Pi kills the cook, and it's really an awful story. It's a disgusting story. But Pi tells it because it's a more likely story than the first one. And in the end, we realize that the people in the hospitals decided to believe in the first story, even though it was more unlikely. And I draw a parallel here with religion, and well, from an atheist point of view, religion is a story that is very hard to believe in. It's a story that I personally find unlikely. And I realized at that point in the book why some people would like to believe in God and to be religious or just spiritual in general. So that really changed my way of looking at the world. And that in the book they say it, and especially in the movie they put a lot of emphasis on the fact that this is a story that can make you believe in God. So yeah, that's why I really love the book. Thank you.